All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, August 6th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video, including some early games, so we better get started here. But like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video, taking you to all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with for the day. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, if you do want to ride with me, all of that is going to be free down in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, what an absolute sweat. We pull out a profit of 0.33 units, but we had to sweat out a few of these things here. Most notably, Garrett Crochet over 7.5 strikeouts. He was in the 7th inning with 6 strikeouts, and then he has a pop fly. Okay, so 2 outs to go. We needed him to strike out both batters to get to 8 strikeouts, and he does the damn thing. Realistically, a pretty good night from having a chance and whatnot. The only one that was just kind of gone right away was that Athletics and Nationals first 3 and first 5 under. The A's scored a million runs. I think it was like 9 runs in the first 3 innings. So both the first 3 and the first 5 were gone. But like I said, still a profitable night. We shall take it. Speaking of taking it, how about the ride of the day? Logan Webb took whatever he wanted from Pittsburgh yesterday, pumping some crowd noise from Anthony. Logan Webb over 6.5 strikeouts. We got it at plus 129, I believe. We have it right here in the tracker. Yes, plus 129. Logan Webb ended with 10 strikeouts, so he may be back. That is 2 starts in a row in which he's had double-digit strikeouts against the same team, though. But shout out to Anthony. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, just use that hashtag, ride of the day, down in the comments. I jump aboard with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with you. If you lose, you still get the shout out, but unfortunately, you got to face the womp womp, and we do have to talk about a loss, right? So, Anthony, get that play in today. A lot of early games, so the earlier, the better for the ride of the day. Now, before we do get to today's plays, wanted to kind of talk about something new that we're going to try, and I think it's pretty cool. We talked about it with you guys on the live stream yesterday. Shout out. It was a blast being live with you guys. But what we're going to do, so hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. For every like we get on today's video, I'm going to put 10 cents towards a plus money parlay. And so, if we get 200 likes, 250 likes, right? That's 20, 25 bucks, 500 likes, 50 bucks, that type of thing, right? So for every like, we're going to put 10 cents towards a parlay, a plus money parlay. And then if it hits, we'll give away the winnings. The way to enter the giveaway, head over to Instagram at MLBPicks, EVPICKZ, and it'll be popping up here throughout the show. All you have to do is DM me, follow me and DM me being like, I'm here for the giveaway, and boom, you're entered. I'll be posting over there what that parlay is. So very excited to do something like that. Should be pretty damn fun, but let's go ahead and dive into today's slate, guys. We're starting it off with Pittsburgh taking on the Giants. Like we already mentioned, the Giants looked pretty good yesterday on the back of Logan Webb. 8-1 win there. Today, looks like we're going to have Robbie Ray. He's going up against Andrew Heaney. What I'd ultimately end up looking at is still thinking that this is a Giants spot, okay? I don't necessarily love the idea of this Pittsburgh offense. Not that I'm thrilled with the Giants offense, but I kind of like the Giants offense a little bit more than Pittsburgh. So I do lean Giants, but I don't mind the idea of a first 5 under, really. If we can get a good number or a first 3 number, whatever that good number and kind of consumable odds we can get to, I don't mind. We do have San Francisco and obviously Pittsburgh, not exactly the best offenses. I've already kind of mentioned it. Both pitchers are going to be lefties as well, which I think is huge for these offenses. Last 30 days, you can see here via our dashboard, which we'll talk about in a little bit, neither one of these offenses cruising against lefties at all, right? Now, what I will say is you have the fastball coming from Robbie Ray. It's actually a pitch that, yeah, we've seen some success out of Pittsburgh as a lineup, but a lot of the core guys in that lineup, you can see right here, aren't hitting the fastball all that well. So that's obviously good. From the other side of things, you have Andrew Heaney throwing the fastball. Okay, sure, you do have that as a decent pitch from San Francisco, but same thing, kind of a mixed bag in terms of what these guys are doing against the fastball, specifically player prop-wise over the last 30 days. So I don't mind the idea of a first 5 under here. I would still like the idea of, a full game under, but that totals down at 7.5. I think there might be a little bit more value if you shrink the game into first 5 or first 3 here. So Giants in the under is probably what I'd look at first here. All right, next up, Phillies taking on Baltimore. Ranger Suarez on the bump, going up against Trevor Rogers. I think this could be a good game, but not the highest of scoring games. You have the Phillies, who have definitely struggled against lefties over the last 30 days compared to righties. And then Trevor Rogers, at the same time, has been pretty damn phenomenal. His last 5 games, he's looked awesome. Most recent game against the Cubs, 8 innings pitched, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts. Against Colorado, sure, Colorado, but 7 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned. He had 2 earned against Tampa Bay. Okay, that's over 6 innings. Still take that start, but not his best. And then he goes up against Miami, and these are kind of working in reverse order here. Miami, 6 2/3, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts. Then he had 6 strikeouts and a 0 earned game in 6 2/3 against Atlanta. Trevor Rogers has been phenomenal, 0.8 ERA over his last 5. Ranger Suarez still should be decent in this spot because this is a Baltimore team, like I already mentioned, that does not hit the left hand really all that well. He's going to throw fastball. Maybe you can make the argument that they'll hit that, but if he goes to the changeup or the cutter or anything, Ranger Suarez should be okay. So what am I kind of circling here? Well, I like the idea of the Phillies because I do think they have the better bats. But what I'd actually really want to wager on and consider here is the first 3 or first 5 under. Shout out to sports scientist Jacob, was in the live stream yesterday saying everyone should hop on board the first 3 under. You're going to get some closing line value, and I believe he's already gotten like 20 cents of value. So should have listened to him. If you guys are in the live stream, I should have listened to him. But I don't mind the idea of the first 3 and first 5. Now, you might ask the question, why not just consider the full game under, right? Well, first and foremost, I don't like either one of these bullpens. That's probably the main reason. I do think that we have wind blowing in, which should help, right? So ultimately, yeah, you could look at the under 8, but when you have Suarez on the mound, when you have Rogers on the mound, I kind of want to isolate it just to them and take a peek at either the first 3 or first 5. Next up, we have the Mets taking on the Guards. We cashed 2 plays in this matchup yesterday. We had the first 3 under. That came through, and we had the first 5 under. It was a sweat, but it came through, so that was nice to see. Those were our latest adds, too. We added that just before the live stream, which is awesome. That final score, I think, was, 3-2 anyway, so I guess it wasn't all that much of a sweat. Cleveland's won both games in this series, which kind of turns me off of my lean here, but I'm still going to lean towards the Guardians. It's Gavin Williams versus David Peterson. Now, you're probably looking at that being like, David Peterson is the far better pitcher, and I would give you that. But looking at our dashboard here, and I'll explain how to get access to this dashboard in just a little bit, and we have a nice little juicy promo for you guys that can get access to this with a code for under $3 for the first month. So stay tuned for that just a little bit. The thing that I'm looking at here is David Peterson against righties. There's a ton of righties, well, I guess switch hitters in the lineup today, and this is a Cleveland squad that doesn't really fare too poorly against left-handed hitters. So yeah, I think that Peterson could get hit a little bit. Now, again, we leaned Guardians in this spot, but they've won the first 2 games. I really wouldn't have envisioned Guardians come in here to the Met Stadium and City and be like, you know what? We're going to sweep you. So that kind of turns me off of it. What I also don't mind is the idea of the over. I mean, we just flashed it up on the screen. We could do it again. You could see here, Gavin Williams having a decent season. Decent is what I'd give him, but his ERA on the road is, his stats on the road, terrible. ERA, whip, FIP, expected FIP, walking 14.2% of bats. This is another good spot. Mets number 1 against righties last 30 days in terms of drawing walks. Maybe we take a peek at Gavin Williams' walk. So yeah, I think that there's an argument to be made here for an over in runs being scored. Now, I've seen multiple, I'm going to put Williams' walks on the screen as well. I've seen multiple, I guess, different reports in terms of what weather we're having. So we'll keep an eye on the weather, because if it really is crappy weather there, I don't think that's going to be a spot that we're like head over heels trying to get down with the over. But ultimately, as of right now, from what I see, we do have wind, blowing kind of right to left, which could help here instead of blowing directly into the batter's face. 80 degrees and no rain. So yeah, maybe we look at the over. I do think that we've seen 2 kind of weird games so far. The first 5 innings of that first game, 0 runs scored, and then it was a 7-6 final. Yesterday, they kind of scored all their runs in the front end of the game. I think only 1 run came in the 7th inning on. So we'll see what we do there. But yeah, I don't mind the idea of the Guardians, maybe Gavin Williams over in walks, or just the over in general. All right, guys, getting access to the dashboard is super, super simple. Over on GuyBostonSports.com, you can head to the members area. MLB dashboard, you can click sign up, right? For $2.99 a month for today, I guess. So then it changes to $6.99. So I shouldn't say a month. For your first month, that's a better way of putting it. You can get this for $2.99 using code DASH, D-A-S-H, D-A-S-H, code DASH, $2.99 for the month for your first month. Then it moves to $6.99 a month. But you get each and every game broken out in a visual format of all the key stats that we kind of deem important here. Pitching stats. You have bullpen down below, seeing what pitchers have gone recently, so you know if a bullpen is taxed or not. You have pitch mix. What pitches do they throw? So you have averages, WRC plus, all this for both overall last 30 days for batting. We have against the hand of the pitcher they're seeing, against the hand and the situation, right-handed away, left-handed home, all that type of stuff, right? Also pitch mix batting. So if you see a lot of fastballs, how does the team hit the fastball, right? You see a lot of sliders, how does the team hit the sliders? And then we have the updated lineups here and some of their key metrics per pitch, per hand, and all that stuff. So head over to GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area, use code DASH, you'll get it today for $2.99 per month. Once it renews after, your month of membership, it'll be $6.99 per month, which is still an absolute steal of a deal, in my opinion. Now, we built this thing, so obviously I'm confident in it, but getting it for less than $7, it's an absolute great tool. And people that have used it for the whole season so far have seen the improvements we made and have been raving about it. So yeah, I'm super, super proud of this. One of the most, proud things I am that we've built so far this season. So check it out, guys, GuyBostonSports.com. Let's talk about this one. It was the example we just used in the dashboard too, but we don't know if we're going to get Joe Ryan here, but if we do, and Joe Ryan is pitching from Minnesota, I don't mind the idea of taking a peek at Minnesota, right? But again, we want to make sure that he is pitching, but I'm going to look at the Twins on the money line because you can get that right now, I think for like plus 130, which kind of checks the box for me. You have Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers. His numbers against this Twins team aren't all that phenomenal. And against the current roster, small sample size, 26 plate appearances against, no kidding, because they traded out their entire team. But 26 plate appearances against, 30.8% K rate. That's a great number. But then it kind of stops there. 12% walk rate, an average against, expected batting average against of 276, mediocre. Expected slugging 472, mediocre. Expected WOBA 363. So nothing all that great from him. I will lean towards the Twins, but I don't want to get too carried away and act like, Jack Flaherty's going to get absolutely shelled. Even using our dashboard, you can see he's going to throw a ton of fastballs. This Minnesota team does not hit the fastball all that well, right? You can see Joe Ryan throws the fastball. Detroit doesn't hit the fastball all that well. So ultimately, I start looking at a first 5 under here, depending on the number you can get. I also don't mind the idea of a first 3 number, first 3 under. I think that this is a spot in which we see somewhat of a low scoring game overall. So yeah, we have this one pegged right now, I think at like a 4-3 final in terms of final score, and then a 2-2 game after the first 5, which if you can get it under 4.5, that might ultimately end up being the move. All right, Cubbies taking on the Reds. Reds get another win yesterday. They've now won both games as underdogs against the Cubs here in Wrigley on the road, right? Littell pitched, I think it was 7 innings, or he pitched into the 7th inning yesterday. I would say that this is a spot, though, I think the Cubs kind of bounce back simply because I'm afraid of, like, the sweep situation, okay? So I'm not trying to sit here and say do not look at the Reds or anything like that. In fact, there's probably some value on the Reds here again at plus 125 with Andrew Abbott on the mound. He's been phenomenal. But where I'm giving the Reds the credit is Andrew Abbott and taking a peek at that first 5 under. So Cade Horton is pitching for the Cubs. He's going to throw a ton of fastballs, which I love here because Cincinnati not exactly smashing fastballs over the last 30 days, just ranks 23rd. So 8th or 7th worst in the league in terms of runs above average there. But Andrew Abbott on the other side has been phenomenal on the road. 0.91 whip this season, 2.56 FIP, an average against under 200 at 198, strikeout rate of nearly 26%, walk rate of under 5%. So Andrew Abbott should still do his thing here against this Cubs squad. I do have a little bit of a concern with the fact that they've seen him 78 times, the guys on this team. He has a 15.4% K rate compared to an 11.5% walk rate. Not all that tremendous. Expected batting average against of 295 and an xWOBA of 403. So that's not all that great, but I do still kind of give him credit for being phenomenal on the road this year. So I like that first 5 under. We take a peek at Dansby Swanson, who killed us a couple days ago, but I do like him and the pitch mix here. He's going to see the fastball. His WOBA drops against the fastball, the changeup, the curve, the slider, and the cutter, which he only throws 4.5% of times on the side of Abbott, is the first pitch that he'll see. Again, 4.5% of the time he'll see this. That's the first one in which his WOBA looks pretty damn good. So I do like his under. Against lefties, he's actually been pretty good this year, and he has decent numbers against Andrew Abbott, but with a low-scoring game, scene of the crime, Swanson hit a home run on us when we took his under last time. We're returning right back to it. In terms of the red side of things, Ke'Bryan Hayes, I don't mind his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Pretty much the same reason. That main pitch is going to be the fastball out of Cade Horton, and his WOBA drops down to a 214 against the fastball. So 2 player props that I'm definitely considering. This should be a low-scoring game, so hopefully those runs and RBIs of the hits, runs, and RBIs are kind of at a premium today. Texas taking on the Yankees. They've had their way with them so far in 2 weird games, right? A high-scoring game 1, 8-5 win, and then 2-0 win yesterday. Evaldi goes 8 innings pitched. You love to see that. I don't know when the Yankees will win their next game because they've lost, what, is it 5 in a row right now? And honestly, like, some of these they've just blown too, which is crazy. Where I'd go in this one is probably lean towards the Yankees, though. They do have Carlos Rodon on the bump, who I would say is a little bit more trustworthy, and I do say a little bit because who knows what's happening with this Yankees squad right now, and even I guess Rodon specifically. But I don't mind him as a lefty against this Texas team compared to Jack Leiter. Now, Jack Leiter's been a lot better on the at home this year, which that's great, and he is good against lefties, so sure, that could be good. But some of the righty bats in this lineup kind of scare me today. Aaron Judge, Paul Goldschmidt, that type of thing. So I do think the Yankees can put up a decent number. I'm going to lean towards their team total over as well, as long as we can get it at 3.5. At some point, this Yankees team has to turn things around. I don't even mean turn it around to be like a number 1 seed in the East. Like, who knows how far they can go? But they're playing like one of the worst teams in the league right now, and their roster is not comprised of being one of the worst teams in the league. Their bullpen stinks. Starting pitching's not doing much. Like, it is pretty damn crazy. So I think at some point, at least the offense kind of kicks it into gear. And even, you know, in the game that they lost in game 1 here, they still scored enough runs to cash their team total over, right? So maybe we see something like that. This Texas bullpen is pretty damn good, though. I'll give you that. But again, that might be the thing that keeps us off the Yankees money line, because who knows what this bullpen can do. I also don't mind the idea of Cody Bellinger. I just like the pitch mix here today. He's also batting righties pretty damn well over his last 30 days via average 324 and then an OPS of nearly 985. So I think Cody Bellinger could be one of those bats that, you know, says, hey, let's get things going. And I love the idea of Judge being back in the lineup, being in the lineup, you know, healthy and ahead of him. Bellinger probably has a couple more RBI opportunities with that guy in front of him. All right, we don't have to spend too much time on this one. We got the Rocks taking on the Blue Jays. Obviously, the Blue Jays, the favorite here. They've won 15-1, and then they won 10-4 yesterday. They got the Gauze on the mound here, who's been better on the road this year than he has at home. He's going up against Kyle Freeland, who a long time now has been a guy that I say is actually a good pitcher. It just kind of stinks that he's pitching in, you know, Coors half of his starts. I'm going to lean towards the under in this one. That might be a little crazy. I'll sound the psycho alert alarm, but I also don't mind if you think something makes a little bit more sense, taking a peek at just the Rockies team total under. That at least excuses the idea of, well, what if, and it could be a big what if, the Blue Jays go out there and just put up a massively nuked number yet again. You know what I mean? So I do fully get that. But I'm kind of trusting that Kyle Freeland could pitch okay, as crazy as that is. He doesn't have the worst numbers, 36 plate appearances against this current roster, 242 average against, WOBA against of 286. Like, those aren't terrible. The one concern is he really does struggle with righties. Obviously, Guerrero, Bo Bichette, Kirk, I think, is potentially back, right? So could be kind of tough to you know, for him out there via the hand. But ultimately, if you want to be a little bit more safe, and I do think that it's a little bit more safe, Rockies team total under. Right now, you could still get that, I believe, at under 5.5 for like -165, but under 4.5, I don't mind either. If you kind of want to say, okay, well, let's allow the Blue Jays to go off if they need to. We don't need to take that under 11.5, because the Blue Jays have almost crushed that in both games alone themselves so far in this series. Angels taking on the Rays. We cashed the first 3 under in this one yesterday, and then the Rays went off, and we lost the first 5, unfortunately. But nonetheless, splitting wasn't all that terrible. Today, I look at the Rays. The odds, you know, near a pick'em for the massive starting pitching advantage, I would say is kind of what I'm looking at. You have Shane Baz on the mound. He's been good on the road. I do trust him here. Tyler Anderson's been a little bit better at home, sure, but to me, he's still a guy that really does struggle, right? And there are a couple lefties in this lineup, the Low and Lau, that could get you in some trouble here, but ultimately, it's going to come down to the fact that, you know, I don't think either one of these offenses is all that phenomenal, as to why I'm leaning towards the under 9 as well. Now, I worry about the bullpen, so maybe a first 5 under, but it's tough to get to a first 5 under when I really don't fully trust Tyler Anderson or anything like that. So it's going to be Rays in the under. I do think that ultimately these stay as leans, much like I loved the under yesterday and we kind of split. I'm not all over it today. This is probably a spot in which we just lean Rays, lean under 9, and see if our read was right to be able to kind of apply that to future plays, not necessarily putting our hard-earned bread on a Rays and Angels getaway day game. So that's probably what we'd look at, but you could probably tell it's not my most confident spot on the board. So guys, like I said, just to reiterate, every like that we get on this video will contribute 10 cents towards a plus money parlay that we will be giving away. Depending on what the odds are and everything like that, we'll either give it away to multiple people, or if it's, you know, something that looks pretty good, we'll pick one random person in the Instagram DMs and give it away. You can follow me on Instagram right here at MLB Picks. We post obviously clips of our content. We do some beer reviews, some reaction stuff, a lot of cool stuff over there, guys. So if you do want to go ahead and follow me, for the giveaway or just for entertainment purposes, head over there, guys. Again, EvPicks, EVPICKZ, spelling B champ. Dodgers taking on the Cards. Is this Dodgers team back? They scored, what, 12? Was it 12 runs yesterday? They still allowed 6 runs in, but that was a quick over there. I think it was, what? It was almost like, was it 7 runs scored in the first 3 innings? So, yeah, I mean, you were pretty much cruising. They did score a bunch of runs late, I will say that, but you had to feel pretty good if you had the over in that game. Where we'd go in this one is probably still kind of taking a peek at the Dodgers. I say, are they back? They have Shohei on the mound today. He's been pretty good so far as a starter. He's listed as the starter today, not just the opener, so we'll see how that goes. Been very, very good at home, very good against lefties. Donovan, Burleson, Nootbaar, Gorman. There's some lefties in this lineup that you want to be good against, right? And some of those guys don't do too great against right-handed pitching either. So I like the spot here for Shohei to pitch at least okay, but even still, I think we're looking at an offense that may be starting to kind of do things well again, which is pretty crazy. So if this Dodgers team can go out there and score 5-6 runs, I think we're cruising to a Dodgers win, which you might not want to pay the price tag that they're at right now, right? But you might be able to get that team total over for a little bit more value. No player props in this one as of right now. All right, this one's a tough one. Miami taking on Houston. We'll just put our leans up right away here. I like the over in Houston team total over. I'm still kind of ping-ponging here in terms of what I like from a money line perspective because I kind of like the idea of the Astros out of Pick'em, but I really do like Jansen Junk at home in the pitch mix he throws more than Spencer Spaghetti on the mound for Houston, right? So maybe Miami does take one back. They have not won in this series so far, and realistically, it hasn't been that close, right? 8-2, 7-3 are their losses. So I guess to some degree, I like Houston team total over. I like the over, but still see some value for slight plus money, plus 104 right now on the Miami money line. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I get it, but I do, again, think that, you know, this could be a high-scoring game. So maybe we just say, hey, screw it. Let's take the over. If Miami gets to Arrieta, great. Hopefully we can see some runs against, you know, the Miami bullpen and even Jansen Junk, who does have his struggles, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like he's been really, really good. He's been allowing a ton of runs. I mean, last 3 starts, 6 earned through 5, 3 earned through 5, and 4 earned through 5. That was against KC, Milwaukee, and the Yankees. Houston, right up there with those offenses, right? So maybe just the over. Why are we overthinking it? No pun intended. Let's just take a peek at the over. All right, Nationals taking on the A's. This was one that killed us yesterday. We had the first 3 and first 5 under, and it smacked the total over in the first 3 innings. So, yeah, not exactly our best look. We'll take a womp-womp for that one. But hopefully, if we do roll with anything today, it's a little bit better. We like the A's. We like their team total over, and also James Wood under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Let me start with the James Wood one because I don't know if we fully get there ourselves. I do think it's a decent spot, though. He really hasn't been hitting all that well if you've been living under a rock. He's going to see a lot of fastballs out of Jeffrey Springs, who's pitching for the A's today. He's also going to see a lot of sliders and a lot of changeups. All of those pitches, he does not hit very well and has not been hitting well. But at the same time, he really hasn't been hitting any pitches all that well, right? So I'm a little hesitant there because you know me, right? I take an under. We've been circling this. I've mentioned it in a couple videos. Haven't pulled the trigger. The minute I pull the trigger, the guy's going to have a 3 home run game. Like, we could sit that. I'm going to be like, oh, well, yesterday I called James Wood under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and he set the record for most home runs in a game. That probably would happen. So we'll see if we can get there ourselves. I like the Athletics because there's a pitcher on the other side of things, Cade Cavalli, for the Nats, who 26-year-old hasn't pitched in the big since 2022. When he did, he had a 14.5 ERA. This is only in 1 start, so, you know, we can't throw him up there too much and shit on him because it's only in 1 sample size. But 14.5 ERA, 1.85 whip. He's been in AAA, in single A, double A, all that stuff recently, so don't know what to expect out of him. So maybe we just say, hey, A's team total over, right? In terms of odds right now, and this offense hasn't looked all that bad, which is crazy. I mean, some of these young guys have absolutely just been stepping up and turning this into a whole new team, you know? Like, this is the team, I think, when people were taking their over for wins and stuff, was the team that they were expecting. But right now, over, you can get plus money for over 4.5. I like the over 3.5 a little bit more, so maybe they're a parlay piece. If we go, like, over 2.5 with another offense that we like today, that could be something we look at. But truth be told, guys, I don't know too much about the kid pitching, so I don't necessarily want to put, you know, my moolah on an unknown or a question mark, but it is what I'd look at as of right now. All right, my Boston Red Sox, we cashed Garrett Crochet yesterday. We did not cash them on the first 5 run line, but whatever, still made profit because that Crochet one is a plus 132 play. Today, things are a little bit different. We have Dustin May making his Debut for the Red Sox. I'm not a Dustin May guy. I hope he proves me wrong as a Red Sox fan. He's going up against Michael Wacha, who's definitely struggled on the road so far this year, but I do think all the values on the Royals today. Now, the way we could play this is a couple different ways, because all three of these plays below me right now are kind of Royal-centric. I don't mind them on the money line just because of the odds that you're getting, right? Do I think the Red Sox are the better team? Yes. Do I really want to trust Michael Wacha? Maybe a couple years ago, but not right now. But for plus 125, you could convince me that this is a spot to fade Dustin May, who I don't think is all that good, and get the Royals at nearly actually plus 130 now, or no, plus 128. So yes, I might take a peek at their team total over, though. If we use our dashboard, I could show you guys right here. We're going to get, that's yesterday's matchups. There we go. Michael Wacha, Dustin May. Dustin May, it's weird seeing him with the Red Sox there. He's going to throw a lot of sliders. This has been a kind of up and down Kansas City roster, right? But how about this? Number one in the league at hitting the slider in the last 30 days in terms of runs above average. And check this out. India's been good at it. Witt's been good at it. Pascatino's been meh at it. Garcia's been hitting it well. Salvador Perez has been good at it. Even down here, Rave, Kyle Isbell, most of these guys are hitting that slider pretty well. So maybe it's a Royals team total overlook. Or, if you really do want to fade Michael Wacha and give credit to the Royals, maybe we just look at the over. So there's a few different things we could do here. The reason I like Perez is pretty much because he's going to see the sinker. He's been crushing that 14.1 runs above average over the last 30 days, and he's been crushing the slider as well. So Perez over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs could be a decent look as well. But maybe this is like a parlay. Royals team total over 2.5. I think they can score 3, right? And Perez to get a hit. Something like that, right? Something juicy that could probably make a little bit more sense than just taking those straight away. So yeah, I'm not really fading the Red Sox today. I'm more so fading Dustin May. Like, if you want to like the over, I'm not going to talk you off of it. This Red Sox offense is awesome right now. Awesome. I'm going to say that as a proud Red Sox fan, not even being biased. The league should recognize how good this offense is playing. All right, we got Atlanta taking on Milwaukee. Milwaukee's won both of the games so far in this series. Yesterday, Freddie Peralta pitched against Joey Wentz, and they won 7-2. Today, probably a little bit of a horse of a different color, right? We have Spencer Strider listed as the pitcher going up against Jose Quintana, who he's actually been okay on the road so far this year. That being said, I do like the idea of the Braves batting against a left-handed bat, right? You can even see via our dashboard, their numbers really do check out here against lefties. So that's obviously good. I'm going to lean Braves in this spot. I don't mind their team total over, but I realistically don't mind the full game over either. This is still a fastball throwing righty in Spencer Strider, and that's kind of the MO of the Brewers right now in terms of who they want to see. So I'm thinking that Spencer Strider does okay, because I do think that he's a very, very good pitcher. He's one of my guys. It wouldn't shock me if he kind of hands off a 5 2/3, 2 earned to an Atlanta bullpen that I don't know if we can fully trust, and we're looking at an over there at 8. So I don't mind the idea of an over. In fact, I probably should throw that up too, because I do think that that is viable for anyone out there if this, these graphics and whatnot help anyone. Braves team total over, but also the over in general. I don't mind the idea of runs coming in this one. What we have via scorepredicts.com looks pretty good too, so I think that this could be a nice spot for either one of those. But again, Quintana has honestly had some really special starts so far this year. When I say special, maybe I'm talking like 6 innings, 1 earned, 2 earned, that type of thing. And Spencer Strider has been kind of up and down, so this might be a spot in which Milwaukee could get to him. That's why I think the over is a little bit of like a compromise between the Braves and their team total over. Involving Milwaukee's bats probably is never a bad idea, especially right now. All right, Diamondbacks taking on the Padres. We have Anthony DeSclafani on the mound going up against Nestor Cortez, I believe, making his Padres debut, if I'm not mistaken, right? So we shall see. Ultimately, here I would probably still think the Padres are the better offense. I don't have too much trust in DeSclafani. Now, he did pitch 2 1/3 in his last start. That was, about 5 days ago, and got shelled. So maybe he bounces back, maybe he doesn't. This one's kind of weird because I also don't, even though I lean Padres, they are kind of pricey. That being said, they've won 8 of the last 10, and you can get them right now at minus 130 on some of these exchanges. Actually, Kalshi at minus 117. That's probably where I'd look. I don't know if I'd pay the minus 150 or the minus 148 that it's like on some of these major books. I also don't mind the idea of Arizona's team total under. The cutter's going to come in, 37% of the time from Nestor Cortez, and this is an Arizona team that's third to last 30 days at hitting the cutter. So maybe their team total under. And then in terms of pitch mix, mainly because of the cutter, I like Lourdes Gurriel and Tyler Locklear. Their unders. Haven't dug too much into them yet. So obviously, if you see them in the final plays, it's due to the cutter and because they kind of check out against, say, a left-handed arm, that type of thing. But as of right now, early looks, those might be some decent spots to look at unders for player props. Quick one here. I think this is just really has not too much value in it because of the odds, but I'll lean towards the Mariners, their team total over, and potentially the White Sox team total over. Team total under for the White Sox. Depending on what you can get for price and all that, that's probably what I'd look at. George Kirby's on the mound going up against Jonathan Cannon. Jonathan Cannon has had his ups, had his downs. Don't love him on the road here, and there are some lefty bats in this lineup. You're going to see Rayleigh from the left side, Josh Naylor, and then the Cole Young, JP Crawford towards the end of the lineup. They could kind of get to him today, so maybe a Mariners team total over because it's not going to be all that crazy high due to the fact that we have a low-scoring game on our hands projected anyways. So maybe those are things that we can get behind, but ultimately I do think that the value is kind of gone in this as of right now. But guys, it's gonna wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. Again, hit that like button. You have a chance to win some money off of a parlay here. We'll see how that goes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.